So speaking of broken families, the Alex Murdaugh trial came to a conclusion this past week. Alex Murdaugh was found guilty of murdering his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. Very grisly murder, close range execution with guns, with a shotgun and with another gun. I've forgotten what type he used. It seems to me that this case was very obvious from the beginning. The jury only deliberated for 3 hours after both the defense and the prosecution rested their case, and they came back almost immediately with a guilty verdict. They didn't ask any questions of the judge. They didn't ask for clarification of any of the elements of the statutes that they were dealing with. They just came back with a guilty verdict. And one of the jurors, this is the interesting part. I think it's pretty obvious that he was guilty, right? One of the jurors that went public in the immediate aftermath of this trial said that the one piece of evidence that convinced them all was that Snapchat video. Because where Maggie and Paul were murdered was on this property on the outskirts of town, and Maggie and Paul were both murdered there. Alex Murdaugh claimed that he wasn't there. How could I murder them, he said, if I wasn't even there? Well, a video found on Paul's phone that was taken 4 minutes before the murders happened had a recording on it. It was a photo or a video of the dog, but in the background of the video was Alex Murdaugh's voice. He was in fact present there. So if there's a smoking gun piece of evidence, that's it. That's what this juror said. Well, this was the smoking gun piece of evidence. And when Alex Murdaugh was challenged about this on the stand, I found it very unconvincing. He said, I have an opioid addiction, and as it escalates, I become paranoid and I lie, and there's no reason for me to lie about this, but I did, and I regret it. Honestly, when I saw that, all it made me, the only emotion that it evoked in me, or the only putting of the puzzle pieces together to try to see, is he guilty, is he not guilty? This just made me more convinced that he was the murderer because he was on drugs, and you're much more likely to harm someone and be violent and commit murder when you were under the influence of, especially an opioid addiction. So he seems like a total creep. Plus, this is one thing that I wanted to address. A lot of people are saying, I think he's guilty. However, I'm not sure what his motive is here. Like, he's accused perhaps, or there's these other murky things about his life, like his housekeeper died under suspicious circumstances in his home, and he collected the money from her life insurance policy. Like, that's motive to kill someone, right? There are even people calling for this housekeeper's body to be exhumed. That's motive to kill someone. If you are in a position where you would reap millions of dollars in benefits. But what's the motive here? To me, this seems actually very simple. The motive here is that his wife was estranged from him. His motive was a domestic dispute. And besides drug activity and gang activity, domestic violence is one of the number one motivators of murder, of homicide, especially when it's a husband killing a wife. That seems to me to be very obvious. I will say one thing, and this may be a very unpopular opinion. I'm interested to know what you guys think of this. But after the verdict, when the prosecutors came outside to talk about how they presented their case, I was very off-put by how they did their presentation. And I want to show you this video first and then show you what I don't like about it and why.
Wow, what a great day for the people of South Carolina. I want to thank every one of you for being here tonight. There's a lot of emotion here tonight at this courthouse. A lot of a year and a half, nearly 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears, it feels like. A lot of hard work from so many people. So if you will just bear with me, there's a lot of people I have to thank.
Y'all saw all of these folks behind me doing amazing work, and I can't be prouder of a team in my life. We called this our Super Bowl. Justice was done today. It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have or people think you have. It doesn't matter what you think, how prominent you are. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina.
Okay, I'm interested in your guys' take on this, but to me, it sounded like they felt that they were at a Hollywood Awards show. Like, what are you celebrating? You go up there and you start thanking people. You joke about what you're eating and forcing someone to take naps. Like, justice is justice, and it should satisfy us that our justice system works. But remember that justice in this case is helping properly reorder society after society has been put in disarray by the criminal who committed the crime against both his wife and his son, but also against society. It is the best reordering that we can do, but it's not reparative. His wife, Alex Murdaugh's wife, Maggie, is still dead. His son, Paul, is still dead. He's now spending the rest of his life in prison, and deservedly so if he killed them, but it's still a tragedy to see someone end two people's lives and then willingly throw away his own. Not to mention his other son, his surviving son, Buster, whose life is completely ruined, completely decimated now. This is not something to celebrate. This is something you can go out and say justice is served and we're proud of our prosecutions, but to celebrate and to laugh and to chortle and to act like this is your Super Bowl, I found that to be very off-putting. Maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I did not think that was, that showed the decorum that I would expect from a prosecutor at that level.
Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.